One morning in a big city, a little girl who was trying to make her life happy with only small things was expecting something special for her birthday. She had small dreams, the biggest of which was a birthday cake. But unfortunately, her family's financial situation was so bad that it seemed almost impossible to buy the cake she dreamed of. That morning, when the little girl's mother opened the door of the house to go to the bakery, she had only a few coins in her pocket. They were in such a difficult situation that her mother almost thoughtlessly spent that money to buy bread for the house. But the hope in the little girl's eyes forced her mother to look for another solution. She had to put aside her dream of buying at least the cake. "We'll manage somehow," she muttered. But that day, just like every other year, when the little girl woke up in the morning, she ate the simple breakfast her mother had prepared and thought to herself, "Maybe I won't have a cake this year either." But slowly and secretly, hope began to grow in her heart. She still had hope, a little belief that something would change. As the day went by, while everyone was getting ready for that morning, the little girl waited impatiently for the hours to pass. However, at that moment, a moment that everyone rarely encounters in their lives, occurred. From far away and from a place no one could have predicted, someone who would change the little girl's life forever was coming. That moment coincided with the morning when Trump arrived in the city and started to tour the city. However, at that moment, he was walking so normally that no one paid attention to him. Trump, just like a man, created an opportunity on that ordinary morning while living his life without realizing it. That opportunity would be the opportunity that would completely change the little girl's life. Trump glanced at the bakery he entered and noticed the little girl inside. There was a deep sadness in her eyes, but she was looking with such a pure search for happiness that Trump immediately turned his attention to her. No one understood at the time, but Trump noticed something in the little girl's unhappy gaze. He approached the baker, looked into the little girl's eyes, and said, "Would you like to give me the money needed to buy the birthday cake?" The baker was surprised and didn't know what to say. No one expected such a gesture from Trump. The baker looked slightly surprised and said, "Of course, President." At that moment, Trump took out a large amount of money from his pocket and paid for the cake and said, "May she smile, may she never forget it for the rest of her life." After the baker accepted the money with this surprise, Trump went to the little girl. The girl's eyes widened in shock. Trump said, "Today is your special day, isn't it? May you have the best of everything." At that moment, the little girl didn't know what to say. For a moment, she was in such shock that the words got stuck in her throat. Trump examined the girl a little more closely and realized how valuable everything was in her eyes. "Remember, sometimes the most valuable things can't be measured by money," he said. The little girl would never forget the power of these words for years, and every year on her birthday, she would remember not only the cake but also the confidence that that moment gave her. After this incident, everything changed in the little girl's life. She had a cake, but most importantly, the value and love shown to her shaped her world in a completely different way. It was more than just a cake, because Trump's gesture was a reminder to her how important and loved a person is. Every passing year, that birthday would remain not just a cake, but a life lesson. Years later, when the little girl grew up, her eyes would fill with tears as she recounted the gesture Trump made to her. That moment, that small gesture, inspired her for life. This simple yet big gesture was a reflection of Trump's power and his interest in people. Sometimes changing a person's life can only be a cake. However, the meaning behind that cake was much greater. With that cake he gave to that little girl years later, Trump actually taught her a lesson about how small and valuable the world is. And that girl, throughout her life, would not only look at her cake every time her birthday came, but would always remember the trust, love, and understanding of the value given to people that small but meaningful gesture had given her.